Yes, you read the title right. I made another game. So, I called it SquareShot because you play as a square and you shoot people. And if you remember from my previous game, you play as a circle, destroying squares. Now you play as a square, destroying circles. Very creative, I know, but let's be honest here. I just created this game because I wanted to test out a top-down shooter. So yeah, let's go ahead and test this game out. So we have the tutorial. It's basically WASD to move, left click to fire, and one click, one fire. Right click for shield, walk into enemies, or shoot them to kill them. Unfortunately for this game, I did not create power-ups. Yeah, so let's get back to the menu. And let's hit play. So there will be like a loading time. Just generate everything, and you can see these are enemies. And yeah, the game has started. So as you can see, this is kind of like a bullet hell kind of game. Yeah, where you have to shoot these little guys, and I'm currently right clicking. As you can see, the shield will go up. There's the shield amount here, the ammo count, and the number of enemies on the level. And I have 88 health because I wasn't shielding at all. And as you can see, as I shield and as I get hit, the shield count actually goes down, and when I run out of shields, oh no, I am defenseless. Yeah, you can actually shoot them using right click, and you can spam as you can hear, you can spam the mouse to rapid fire, but you can't hold it down. I may implement the machine gun if you guys want me to, but it will take a while. And hang on, let me just finish playing this game first. As you can see, I rammed into an enemy just now, and I killed him. There are 3 more enemies. Time to hunt them down, and ooh, one of them is here. And I won. So I can play again, and this time I'll lose on purpose to show you the game over screen. Yeah, it takes a while for the game to load, so let me just die here real quick. And it's game over. I can retry, but no, I'm gonna head back to the menu and I'm gonna quit out of here. So let me show you one of the few things, the scripts, and describe them to you. So this script is with the UI. It takes care of the UI. It changes the number according to the statistics. So let's say it changes the health amount every time you take damage. It changes the ammo every time you shoot. It changes the shield every time your shield gets destroyed. And it also takes care of how many enemies are in the room. As you can see, there is a public this is the UI script. As you can see, they are all text, and this is the health amount, ammo amount, shield amount, and the enemies in room amount, or EIR amount. And this is referencing the player life. I called it the health, but really it's just more than that. And referencing the shooting script, and I took the ammo count from it. I call it ammo count, and you'll see a lot of that later. So this player UI, this part here actually is supposed to be win and losing screen, but I set them to false when you start the game, so you won't have like the UI just pop out in front of you and you can't see anything, and it would be stupid, let's be honest. For example, here's the set stats part in the update function, which is to get if the health, which is the player life dot is dead. If the is dead function is equals true, then I'll set active the blue screen. So the blue screen will just pop out with the animation. Okay, enough said about the UI. Time to move on to the player. The player life actually has, you can see this integer called life counter. So the life counter is basically your life. That's all. The damage will be the damage taken every time you take damage from a bullet. So in this case, I don't set it to the bullet. Instead, I set it to the life itself. Why? Poor design choices. Don't judge me. Anyways, there is this boolean where it's a can take damage, just in case you want to have a cooldown every time you take damage. You do not want to get like swarmed with all the bullets. Yeah, but I didn't really use that much. And there is the public boolean, which is basically true false. Is dead. So if is dead is true, that means you're dead. If is dead is false, it means you're not dead. And you have different stuff with the is dead. Like I said before, this is dead function is useful for here. So if is dead equals true, that means if I'm dead, that means I lost. Right. So yes, there is the bullet script here, which is basically easy. When it public game object, which is the hit effect, it's the effect that plays the particle effect when it hits it, and then public boolean gone. So if it's gone, means you destroy the object. Yeah. But I didn't really use that in the script here. And public shooting, I call it shoot script. Don't mind the noise outside, it's just stuff. So this, I had to reference the shoot script. Not sure why I needed to reference the shoot script. I didn't really use it. Poor design choices. Anyways, yeah, these two, the back to game here, as you can see from down here, back to game, it basically is retry, or just the play button, basically shifting to the game screen. Yeah, the scene where you play the game. And this is the tutorial scene, where if you click tutorial, it would go to the tutorial scene to display all the stuff there. This is the enemy move, which is basically just the thing that makes the enemies rotate and shoot. Well, yeah, so basically how it shoots and how it moves is that, as you can see, I'm going to pull up the prefabs. You can see this circle guy. This circle guy, it has 4 white pointers. It shoots out an invisible straight line ray out of here, and it basically scans if it hits the player or not. If it hits the player, it will shoot. If not, it's just gonna keep spinning. And there are 4 detectors. We call this invisible line ray casting, because you're casting an invisible ray, kind of like light. People use this for enemy shooters or for seeing spy games, and yeah. So let me go back to the scene. Okay. Okay, so so this is the play script. It's supposed to be with to change to the play to the games. Yeah, this is the enemy manager. It basically takes care of all the enemies in the room counter, all those stuff, the enemy counter. Yeah, simple stuff. So every time it instantiates an enemy, which means it spawns an enemy, it creates an enemy clone, it would raise the counter by 1, and every time it's destroyed, it would minus the counter by 1. Yeah. So this is the player movement script. Now we have a public float move speed, which is our speed moving multiplier, which is how fast you want it to move. We have a public rigid body. Rigid body is basically what makes the character a thing. The RB reference to the player life script, which is here, called PL. Public game object enemy manager, because I created an empty game object called the enemy manager, and it has the script enemy manager. Creative, but it's actually for organization. I know. And yeah, it basically takes the movement.x, which is the x-axis movement from left to right, and input.getx is raw horizontal. This basically means it takes, because Unity has this pre-made input system where horizontal basically means AD, since AD or the left-right button, left-right keys, and vertical means WD or the WS or the up-down key. And that is for movement.y, which is moving on the y-axis up and down. Since it's a 2D game, z-axis, no, there is no z-axis. And this is basically all this gibberish is to make the player rotate to look at the mouse, which is pretty handy if I say so myself. So this, as you can see, this is play, this is quit. This is to quit the game and come back to the main screen. Retry game is to retry the game itself. This is the room spawning. So this is the room generator. Basically it creates different routes around the whole map, since you need the player to move from room to room to destroy all the enemies. It's just basically the random room generator, and I won't go into too much detail. So this is, if I'm not wrong, this is the shield. Yeah, so basically all this stuff is just to use the shield every time you press down right click. Every time you right click, the shield would be activated, and every time the shield gets hit, you would actually, you would actually minus from the shield. I mean, you have no more shield, you can't activate your shield. This is the shooting script. It's easy. It takes the point of the fire point, which is basically the point where the bullet is created. Then the game object, at the reference to game object, which is the bullet. In this case, I call it the bullet prefab. This, we created a public integer called the ammo, which is basically how much ammo you have. We have to reference the game object enemy manager to just in case, because we had a lot of referencing to and fro so and I created a public float called bullet force, because essentially what we're supposed to do is you're supposed to create an object, create the bullet prefab, and give it some force to get things moving, because if not, it's just going to be staying in place. And this is the spawn objects. This is the spawn object, which is what spawns the tiles of the game map as you saw just now. And yeah, that's basically it. I hope you enjoyed this video. I know it is a bit lengthy and it is a little rushed and all those stuff, but you know, I just hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a thumbs up. I really hope you enjoyed this video because I have been quite busy lately with schoolwork and stuff. Yes, I am a kid. Shut up. No, stop. Shut up. Don't judge. Shut. Yes. And Milk Gang for life. Smoke coke and say goodbye.